analysts that we've been able to have conversation with is concerned. But in your own estimation, Mr. Arundani, let's take it this way. How would you assess or rate INEC? So far, so good.
Well, I think the first part of this voting process, the deployment of materials, personnel, the fixed that INEC showed over the election. That is fair that even if their personnel and the transporters were not ready, that means delay in arrival, but places were there. We even had an instance where at polling unit the INEC officials were there, the voters were not out, and the reporters were asking them what they were doing, and they said they were waiting for the voters. That's a good thing from this election. There were reports from the each one or two days. By the time we got in touch with that question, they said the beavers had been replaced and was working perfectly. So these are just the kind of reports that we had. We noticed too that when it comes to some category of voters, the vulnerables, in some polling units they were given preferential treatment. The elderly, according to the law, that's how it's supposed to be, and that means they maintain law and order. But there were instances too where voters and those allegedly involved in vote buying tried to disrupt the process, and one INEC seen asking to move away, and they should be that really always every other what at this stage of the
as we go on.
We hope that there will be more favorable reports the process.
Fair enough, I must say. Dr. Kimbulu, did say it's not all about INEC alone. In some instances, that by law should be at least 3 polling units. That is so policeman in the police. What do you expect just one person to do? In cases, for instance, you're talking about vote trading, and then the INEC official was having issues to just tell them to leave the stage so that there could be proper thing done there. So, isn't this of concern?
Yeah, issue of security. What we saw, maybe a few cases police have been up to what is expected, but I recall that the security agencies, particularly the police, gave assurance that they were going to deploy fully, and the number for police alone, over 20,000 men, to be on the field. But what we have seen, today, for example, is very strong presence in those polling units. Maybe there could have been a few cases. Apart from the polling units, even manning points across town, across villages, everywhere. Today alone, as we went around, in Akure, almost every 100 meters, and it got to a point where we were saying, we hope this one won't amount to over because the men, they deploy them as almost everywhere. From the we'll see from the disseminate everywhere in the state. Something should be commended. But we wait, till the process. Yeah, the end of the process. Now linking that, to issue of vote trading, for example. This vote trading thing has become something that's far more sophisticated than it used to be. Now it's something that stakeholders need to sit up to address more seriously.
Who will build the cat?
Well, it's all of us, and there are some institutions that I believe have more urgent roles than the others, or who need to play coordinating or leadership roles, like the media, like civil society. It has become very sophisticated. we see on the field, today there were reports across the state, that there was vote buying here and there. But then, we're just seeing just a small part, of a very big problem. Because that's just the on-site vote trading. A lot of vote trading will probably have gone on before voting day, even before election day. And it is serious, it's a problem, for electoral process. From what, we have seen, if it is true, it's a big problem that stakeholders need to sit down. Because
I think with the electorate, I feel, or what do you think?
We need to put this in. We need to put context. See, we live in a where now the economic system is poverty. All these, they don't do everywhere. There are places in like middle class areas who are really stable. Then 5 talking about, I'll get the police to arrest you. They go to some places, where families are not fed, for maybe 2 days, the way they should. People who have energies and all of that. So they are able to offer these things, and people will accept. It's a problem, and I think it should be dealt with. We had some agents, the DSS, arrested. Was done in many of these places by including the police, including for example, we had AFCC and ICPC were going to deploy to the field, and all the other NSCDC and all of those ones. So at the end of the day, we'll have a clearer picture. But what we saw today, wasn't fine at all for our electoral process, because across the state, beginning from the northern part, down to the southern part, there were reports. Our colleagues, journalists, were bringing the feedback. Vote trading here, vote trading there. People carrying money in bags and going there to distribute.
Even right in the presence of security agencies.
Even right in the presence of security agencies. But part of the problem is also this. Now, in our conversation of this election, part of what we had from some of the stakeholder agencies, including security agencies, that the mandate they have is to protect the voting area. Maybe like 300 meters radius. So, and if you are a policeman, that's the instruction you're giving. You get there, you make sure there's no problem there, no vote trading. But these guys are smart. What is 300 meters? They will just stay outside, that radius and do the business that they want to do. So you can see, so we're really in and stakeholders sit down to deal with. This will mean putting highest bidders into office, and when you do that, you cannot come back. You are not ruling well. You are not giving the dividends. Simply tell you, by the time
the dividends you collected,
the dividend you already collected 5,000. You already cooked the pot, with it. Also, it's a bad thing, and electoral reform, will address.
When will the electoral reform really take place? That's a big question on our minds that we must really also push
the process, but it's also not done in time. Then we still have to use the current electoral act to conduct. That's why we're hopeful that by early next year, April thereabouts, this process will have been concluded to allow for needed reforms. Even some of those reforms seek to improve on what we have now, particularly the use of technology, because technology for now, it's mainly limited to beavers for accreditation and for uploading of results to IREF. IREF is a self-creation of INEC. It's a display board. It's not a collation center. It's actually, but they said they would do it, and that's why we're holding them accountable. You said you upload results, upload. But the electoral act to now provide for the use of technology mandatorily at every stage of the process. That will help, because because part of the challenge is that people don't know that according to the electoral law, elections still have to be manual. That's what the results from all polling youths, or maybe that the process of collation still have to take place. Now say the winners is a
lot we'll still talk about the electoral reforms. Shouldn't we even have an electoral offences commission to deal with issues? After this break, we will speak with the candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC), Lucky Aiyedatiwa. The candidates of the PDP, Agbola Ajayi, was able to vote, and what does he have to say about the process? Ditto the candidates of the Labour Party, Olorunfemi. Let's have a feel, and then we'll come back to continue this conversation. We'll be back, everyone. Candidates of the Democratic Party (PDP) in the ongoing Ondo governorship election, Agbola Ajayi there, he cast his vote at polling unit 004, Apoi Ward 2, Kiribo in SL, the local government area of the state. The PDP candidate accused the Independent National Electoral Commission of bias, saying he had received reports of delays in the commencement of voting. He said he took off before he could, after presentation, an attempt to frustrate. Your comment on that? I have to start with you. Because I can see you.
When we saw the governorship candidate of the PDP trying to vote, and Beavers, he had to wipe his face and all those kind of things. These are issues with technology. It could also even be the level of.
He also had to remove his glasses.
Yeah, his glasses, the scale of. And we had reports too that some category of elderly people, had issue with beavers.
Yes.
And what we hope is that this should also serve as additional lesson, for INEC. Could it be people get older, there are issues in terms of capturing, because some features probably will change. Although I also know that it's not just facial something alone that beavers can rely upon; they can also use. That's what I'm saying. It could experience of that particular official, because once the picture could have been an immediate option, use your print or thumbprint, and then it will still bring out information that you need to be accredited to vote. Apparently, it's raising the issue of bias. It's for INEC to defend itself. So all the process has to be as transparent as possible. And in this later part, the to important issue at the coalition centers is quite peaceful. Law and order should be maintained, but those who are there on legitimacy, like the media, accredited to be at the center, there are two types of accreditation to cover the elections and to be at the collation center, like a meeting lead collation center. The security that so that journalists can be able to report, see what is happening. The same thing for the party. No party agent should be barred from the collation center. If we see that will be a build-up to where we are now, of course, it's not been a perfect election. But if we are making comparison with Edo, we are seeing elements of improvement here and there. But the critical situation is when you now have the process of collation and narration, because now results from the polling units have been captured by beavers and loaded to IREM. People want to see all these things, playing out, and that also leads us to the whole question that you see, for election, no matter how much we use technology, the human element will always be very, very important. The human element. You see the process or the day. If you come out, we are going to do this. Is not about it, really. I told that would deploy stop vote buying, except if, like Dr. King said, we are all ready to say we are hoping one day the youth in this country will lead the revolution in that regard. Ghana, where young people rejected rights from politicians, did all these things and said, as I convincing their parents, this is not what should happen. Because we're talking about vote buying within the periphery of the voting center. How about far? But what we have also seen in this that is actually, because we're saying this thing is bad, and people have the audacity to be trading money. This one is giving 5,000, the other one. This is definitely a there's a put every blame of this on the election management. Why political parties on going through that route?
You talk the resistance by the people themselves. How about even the ones demands? I think that's another problem on our head. What do you think, Dr. King?
Yeah.
You go to, look here to distribute, who beat you?
Who beat the person?
Who are beat you? So you see the point. And the seems to be engaging their own, because that's what it is. You agree with me?
That's what it is. It's very serious. You put wrong person in office, and then the person he doesn't for at least 4 years, and then complain what I have paid. So if you want of democracy, as you want to say that because you are this thing, it's a big in an electoral process, and it's something very that requires urgent attention.
Just to bribe giver and they go in for it.
They go in for it. You the electoral offenses.
And also the same for some of the reports we had, as a reporter, when you saw this thing happening, people not there. Some of them said there.
They just looked
And
away.
they were looking away. Maybe they are beating, like you said, that people can. There's anger on. I thought that that anger should be brought out in more positive ways.
Channeled
in more positive, rather than just relying on all these things. Cannot it won't go for how much you collect. But I mean, you could literally spend it today. Are you now saying that just for a small portion, it doesn't work that products increase? People feel that from governance. Feel too, because well, it's also not everybody that even gets, because what you get, you share it with your family. What cannot charge to school, cannot pay to bills, not even feel if we face the economic reality of today. So we must just let people know that when you do this, you and when it comes to holding those account.
Yeah, say something, before the break.
The electoral
versus commission. This issue, part of the concerns of stakeholders and stakeholders, for part of wider in the reform of electoral reforms. Not too long ago, 2 weeks ago now, we had a garden in Abuja, and a number of groups we went to present to call a memorandum on electoral reforms, citizens memorandum on electoral reforms to the National Assembly. Among the issues there, which are very on which you want reform without in the electoral process, is on the issue of dealing with electoral offences. We want an electoral offences to to take on one of the roles of the election management, that is INEC. We believe that INEC too much at this time on this plate. Take that part out of it, set up a commission to deal with this. It will be one of the very serious initiatives, in our opinion, if this happens. Because at the moment, yes, INEC makes effort, but INEC doesn't have an enforcement organ like police and all of that. It will still require, the police, other security agencies, to carry this out. And how many things happen on a large scale? See what you have seen in the state level now. Imagine if this were a general election across the country. You have so numerous cases. So if an electoral offences commission is put in place, it will help to address this. One of the key issues that address will be the issue of vote trading. It's getting complicated, and this is political. Where part of it done will be to look far in the process of that legislation in place, the legislation that will bring into that body to say yes, happens at the safeguards that we have to build into this law, that when it begins to operate, soon to find fundamental. They are sophisticated.
Well, let's look at something, Mr. Arabundade. The number of registered voters in this election stands to 53,600. The number of collected PVCs, permanent voter cards, stands at 1,757,205, while 295,800 concerns them the most? I mean, you will not find them out.
Well, I mean, that is an irony in itself, because we would expect that we say that all politics are local. So local elections, which is what a governorship election is, ordinarily should attract more attention. Should enthusiasm, electing directly connected to you and do for you. That should be the attitude when it comes to this local election. These people don't. We mentioned part of it. Increasingly, people are losing faith in the democracy. When all they get is hardship, they begin to wonder, why should I, bother myself? There are even people because it's a very bad PVCs, unlike other forms of identities which have PVCs permanent, and it's also legitimate ID, use it for so many purposes. If you present your voter card, you can open account at the bank, and that's why some people normally collect it and they keep it. So we need to begin to examine these factors that increasingly will make people not to vote. Because the implication is that it is a minority that is electing those who are leading us. Because this stays away, they would have their way. The majority cannot be, because your to determine. It's not the happen in a demo setup. People must be come out. But what we have also is that it shows the weakness that's of what they think is why they put this there and were able to bribe this not get it. Otherwise, they should be in front of civic education, whereas there are with some of the population being asked, how did you get information of education? They were not mentioning parties. Majority of them are NGOs. Some of them are not even based in this state, in making interventions and leave. Then this is how you vote. People that show what they want to do, ones who lag behind when it comes to voter and civic education. So it's like they are running in an election to see an atmosphere. You want to put the campaign properly. I'm sure, but the broadcast here, interview and organize it. If you ask 2 out of 3 people, may tell you that we don't carry this that properly we do. How this we have to become a voter party to see final figures to know whether this improvement, more people obviously register, but like you said, that's the 50,000 indication that perhaps imagine say now until the
I that in 2016 about 500,000 voters out of 1.6. 20 1.8 million and 200,000 voters. 1 person, all total. This time, this large number uncollected is about 1.7 million. So, voter turnout 35%. 33 in 2020, so it went down. We're really looking forward to what we will see
credence to that the platforms and not political parties?
Yes, because political parties have real memberships. That in fact, when it comes to managing the election process, like having people as polling agents, and supposed to come from very political party members. And they have, when it comes to nomination, they charge high fees, 50 million, 25 million of it. When you tell people, why are you doing this? They will say, oh, well, we need to no longer funds or we need money. But if you have members, have no members, and they put down five, is it, let's say, 1,000 naira, that's free.
All right, Mr. It seems that sorting is this. Maybe we have a feel of what's going on there. And we have one of our correspondents on the Zahid Arabisala from the northern districts of states. Zahid, if you're ready, can we have a feel of what's going on? Good afternoon.
Election process here is gradually coming towards the end. When you look at the time right now, it's 2:55 p.m. and what you find here at 11 or 2 in your Meta Coconut is the commencement of the sorting process. The casting of votes has ended here after the expiration of that timeline given by INEC and the fact that there was no other voter on the line to exercise their franchise. Started, we still have here to watch how the electoral process will conclude. To tell you that before we get to this particular point, we also saw that in some a number of queues, a number of electorates still out, even as two still franchise. So that we in your backup, we'll be heading to some other places to check if this or voters are exercising their franchise. But if the table far has been that has been relative peace in this election. You can see the ongoing and party so here are present.
Zaid, I'd like to know if there is also orderliness in this process. There are cases. How about security agents? Are they also on ground as far as this sorting process is concerned?
Yes, security agents are on ground at this time, and they're also looking closely at the event is proceeding. There's been a form of orderliness in the process. See who are closer to the point of the sorting at the parents, watching what the presiding officers are doing in this election, and just find the police officers of the NFCDC also on ground, how the process will eventually pass, and of course, from here on to the next population.
Thank you very much. Zaid is feeding us the Northern Central District of Ondo State. You can see there, and according to him, just like it's also expected to be happening in some of that place. A wonderful moment, especially with many people there. Okay, do you have something from there?
Yes, one of the at the time that ended, of course, we also want to get insight to how the process is already arrived here this afternoon.
Very grateful to Osrc and other people to present here. For today, it's one of the best elections we have ever had in this area. So we are very grateful for to the INEC, to the officials of the INEC, and even other parties they cooperate with us without any problem. So the place is very peaceful. So we are very grateful to you. So your participation in this election make it the best election we have ever have in this state.
Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. Thank you. We're very grateful for your assessment of the process. Thank you. Saheed Arisala,
Saheed Arisala, I think that does it from your end.
We'll be
expecting
from the field. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, we see something going on in this. That place is from the central district of the state, and we also see orderliness, especially also looking at security agents manning the place, ensuring that there's no disruption. I think to a large extent, violence is becoming old-fashioned in the electoral process, except for some very few flashpoints that we've seen.
From violence, despite all the hotness in the course of this campaign and all of that, very soon, politicians come together and they'll begin to act as if they never traded accusations in the course of elections, and the people will be looking on helpless. It's one of the reasons why I say it's not worth sacrificing your life simply because you are supporting somebody. Some of these supporters, somebody is elected, you may not even have access to that person for a long period of time.
It's just a mere game.
Exactly, it's a mere game. It's a mere game. They will come together when they meet themselves at airport or at social events, wedding celebrations. You see the way they will be embracing themselves, chatting heartily, and you will begin to wonder, are these same people? So for me, it's not really worth it for people to, because you mess yourself up. And now we're in the age of social media. In the past, you could do some of these things and get away with, but this one way or the other, somebody will capture you, and that image will be there for your children, for your grandchildren, and people will say, just look at him and say, this is what he's doing. I think thuggery should be something that should go out of fashion, because it doesn't add any value to the life of a perpetrator. It doesn't show respect. In any case, those who also perpetrate this violence are paid to do it. And once they pay you, the elections are can't go back to them. They will just tell you both ways that look, we'll service and you for the service. And they will just so no matter you may threaten, you may there's actually nothing that in the next election, if you are not available, they recruit another.
Also, when they are elected, they also get security coverage. It's not what's your comment on transparency from any of two points?
Commendable. One of the things that we had seen before today was the steps taken by ANEC, and that they continue to make it, that they were going one of they had, which we found very significant, was accrediting larger of observers and indeed, of cover this election. Yes, one of the things we have found is that the figure of journalists, the number of journalists accredited is unprecedented in the history of this year. They wanted this to be transparent. I've seen that all angles, all governments, journalists sending reports of how things on the field. That's really good, for transparency.
All right, I think to a large extent we find, of course, from we experienced 2020. We've also seen a lot of different the experience, and that sorting of as comments the many. Let's these feeds from the government area. I've been told that things have also happened there, and let's let indicate. We'll be right back, everyone.
It's ready. The voting started at the right time without any delay. The materials are ready, the INEC officials are here on time, and there were people also here on time. You could see a lot of going on. It commenced exactly the time we expected it to commence, and everything is under control.
Okay, báwo ni ẹ ṣàlàyé ṣé wọ́n fún yín lórí ìlànà àbí wọn ò fún yín láì ṣàlàyé? Okay, right. Ẹ ṣé.
I came in like citizen, ready to exercise my right. I was able to venue, and of course I was accredited. Ballot paper was given me, and I was able to vote without any issues. So that has been simple. We want to appreciate because to have elections, another thing not to have the materials necessary for us to vote. But I want to thank INEC for that. We have the necessary materials. Then, of course, the security team ground, security forces on the ground. So far so good. And of course, voters, they've conducted themselves very well. No violence, we don't see any form of violence. So I think Nigeria is getting better by the day. The that we win this election. Why? Because our governor, 11 months, I came on board, he continually his predecessor left. And was able to do that. Of course, release some billions.
really local government, of course, also listening to some of the some other areas. Though when it was not a very about some of that. So the need for political complaints of election is important. We stress that do not that. I think it's to a process and be a way to maintain decorum on election.
There are laws, governing elections. Election day is mainly for voting, and waiting to see the results. It's just that we journalists sometimes want to you saying, oh, the process has been fair, the results come out, and it goes the other way. They need to say the but politicians to know that what they want to say, to violence, the process to be restrained when they are making statements or comments. It does not just take place in one polling unit or one polling area or even one local government. There should reports from across the state for judgment on facts, emphasizing that accuracy. Facts are sacred. When you have taken all these based percentage, you are like this frame very from the what you have voting, that is how it should be. The kind of things that people believe democracy is just for the political class to read out the okay.
Isn't that a challenge to the young people? See, there was a time we were about this not to. And eventually the things like what's the popularly called initial grant. And now you find we have votes and all of that. So it's time that the young people also lead from the elderly people who are not on their.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, young people. We are talking about now, it belongs to them. They will be the ones in charge. And so this is the time, to themselves, to democracy. When they will be a better time, than we have right now. And I was going through the data on the voting population for this election, and I saw that the largest demographics are the largest, for example, to 35, followed by 39. Yes. And, so it means they really have the power to do in the level to seeing how out after the voting will have taken place, how much young people in this process. It's something that we have to commend, the attitude of the elderly population coming at age 90, still having faith. So we shouldn't rush, as young people, to say, oh, we are fed up, we're not going to vote again. No. We should say,
then Japa becomes the
then Japa becomes the order of the day. We've got to build our. We cannot want people from outside to build it for us. And the young people are central in all of it. They are the ones that energy, that demography. So to and rethink and be ready. My shared experience from Ghana. I said coming to electoral process to rise. We don't want it. We are going to fight it, and they led, that crusade, that initiative. That's the kind of thing, that I want our young people to do. To be the kind of attitude.
We've talked about our electoral process, vote trading, which to many, of course, in Nigeria, something that's really fabrics of our electoral process that more in the board about the comportment of security agents, this election as well as and declaration of results. What should be the comportment of critical stakeholders in this election, where as we are going into collation, now sorting is ongoing. Next will be collation. We find local governments now doing the collation and all of that before coming to the central. What should be the comportment and disposition of critical stakeholders as we head towards this?
Well, this is the point when critical stakeholders should display the highest sense of responsibility and to know that all these things we are saying has been fairly well, it's been good, the elderly have come and will not turn into something else. There must be vigilance. I think the political party agents must do their work and be loyal to their political parties. Don't disown the results you have signed in the polling unit. Follow the process. Where you notice things, call for the relevant official to look at the facts to be sure that they are there. We also call on the INEC officials who will be leading the process at this stage to exhibit the highest sense of professionalism by not tampering with the result from the polling units and not, so that people can really have confidence, because it's also about trust. Really, this election can provide an opportunity for INEC as an institution to begin to regain the trust of the citizens in the process. That will be very, very important. I think earlier on we talked about the need for security agents to really be professional too in their conduct, not to turn the collation centers into war zones. There would always be tension. Some party agents may ask questions, they may raise, and we saw it before. We recall 2015 elections during the Orubebe versus Jega saga. You saw the way maintained his composure, how they express himself, resolve himself, and invariably, reasoning, that's the kind of atmosphere we want to see. Don't just say because something that then the next you say now use force, it will begin to reinforce all kinds of speculation and that not actually be found. It's important for everybody and for our colleagues in the media. They need to be very, very professional in our reporting. We shouldn't be in a hurry to declare a winner when INEC has not so declared as a winner. With other stakeholders in bringing process to the attention of our people.
It seems that the process is not yet concluded in cases. We will find by our opponent Zahida Aribisala is back. Tell us what's going on in Akoko, I presume. Zahida Aribisala, let's have you now.
I can hear you loud and clear. Still area of Ondo State. What you find right here, live from the ground, it's 004 Araromi Watu, Akoko Northeast. Voting is still underway, and you can see the number of voters were still lined up, hoping to exercise their franchise at a particular time. And very different situation to what we showed you earlier, where sorting has begun. And here, you're going to have the agencies as though they are overpowered, overstretched of some sort because of the number of voters eager to exercise their franchise. Define look exercise still hoping that yes, the deadline been over, they can still cross the mark.
Is that a career in particular?
Yes, that's the career unit
Now,
004.
Okay.
Asking you,
I like to know.
I like to know.
It started late. If you check your time, this is
If what?
20 p.m. Did voting start late? Did voting start late?
For some of those who, yes, in some areas that we've been to, even the officials until about 10 in the morning. So it proved to be a setback to the how fast the process is. Some in some of the polling units really slow. So some of the queue there to exercise the franchise, and until 3:30 almost, that you will get the opportunity.
I'm told you've been there since 11 a.m. up to now. You're Was it a case of late arrival?
Yeah. Electoral officers. What's voting is the wrong way there.
And I don't even know, I didn't vote, but I'm expecting that I will vote. I will cast my vote because it's my right.
Thank you very much. I wish you the very best in your tenacity
to exercise your franchise. Thank you very much. Zaid
Abisala, thank you
for staying true to coverage.
Yes, so
thank you very much.
That's still the situation here.
All right then.
We'll be keeping it tab as events unfold. Thank you so much, Zaid Abisala. Well, I think that was what we talked about the other time about late arrival of electoral officers, and also the issue of the malfunctioning of beavers and some of those equipment. Let me have your comments, gentlemen. Let me start from you, Dr. Akinbo.
Starting with beavers, and assured today that they were going to ensure that beavers work, and that part of their plans they were providing backup beavers, that their technicians also were going to be on ground in large numbers, and that if anything happened to the beavers device machine by way of malfunctioning, attention was going to be given immediately. So we will see how it plays out at the end of today from the field where beavers failed, what happened, were the backups, were they deployed immediately, were the technicians available. So we look forward to seeing that. Now, talking about late arrival of officials, we also need to see the scale. Maybe these are just isolated cases across the state. In the earlier part of today, the reports we're getting from the field wasn't talking about late cases. Yes. They arrived very early. So we'll wait till the end of the exercise if this was a bit widespread or it was just a case of isolated incident.
In Akredem District Capital, there was also a case around the Rear Carry area where I was told that the electoral officer.
So imagine, how do you expect transportation you couldn't have? So that's why
in the same airport.
Fear to wait. Sadly, how widespread. It's not, but I also want to
get to that. INEC officers don't move with the materials unless there's security presence. They are normally accompanied by security personnel.
I remember we also talked about roughly 1,000 officers.
Yeah, apart from those officers, some of them are designated to travel travel wherever they are going. And if they don't see them, they don't know. So that's why what Akingbolu is saying is important. Let's wait to get the full picture before we pass.
I think there are
yes,
of
course.
to see.
And then we'll know where we
Integrity is important as far as concerned. And if you ask me, INEC has a whole lot to really prove to Nigerians that it has learned a lesson from the Ondo election and also improving on what we now have in Ondo election. Dr. Akingbolu, do you see INEC doing that as we go into the collation and declaration of results stages of this election?
I'd rather implore.
I appreciate your diction.
Yes. Encourage or implore them, to help. My colleague already spoke about that. This is a very sensitive phase, stage of the thing. Now, transparency, we want it to continue to be translated very seriously at this level. Allow journalists, for example, to have access, to this stage fully.
What we call unfettered access.
Yes, unfettered access, throughout, so that they can see. Ensure, as Larry said earlier on, that INEC officials play their roles. We don't want to hear a story of something happened between point A and point B in this phase, of this process. In my opinion, this particular election has a potential that people will respect it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thank you so much. Your very wonderful insights into these issues so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you, all along on the telephone, now live in the studio. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone, it's been a wonderful morning with these two gentlemen. Dr. Akingbolu is Executive Director, Center for Media and Society, and Ms. Larry Arugundade is Executive Director, International Press. And then we've been talking about issues having to do with the ongoing governorship in Ondo State. This is how far we're able to go with this gentleman as far as this is concerned. The studio continues, and of course we'll be looking at issues as they unfold. Of course, we'll also get to the INEC Collation Center when it is time, and then give you blow-by-blow account of what transpires there from. Please stay tuned and always enjoy every part of our broadcast of the happenings around this ongoing election. Gentlemen, thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you.
Very
it's
much.
our pleasure.
Everyone will take a break, and then you'll see us again as events unfold in the ongoing election. I am Sunday Kolawole. Enjoy the rest of the morning.
Ondo State, where the rays of possibility shine brightest, a place in the southwest, where nature's bounty meets human ingenuity, where every effort contributes to the of growth. In this state, the richness of the past weaves seamlessly with the promise of tomorrow.